informal.
All right, got it.
All right, you're going to see that we're streaming. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are calling in from. This is Monica Cornetti, and with me, I have Nithya. Help me out, Nithya. Go ahead, say your last.
Radhakrishnan.
Radhakrishnan, and that's not that difficult. And thank you for helping me with that. And I connected with Nithya because I saw some things on Instagram, real playful design that Toss the Coin is doing. And Nithya is the creative director at Toss the Coin. And then she has this background in gamification in higher education that is really fascinating. So I invited her and she agreed to come and do the interview with me, which was really risky and courageous because we've just connected through social media and haven't had a conversation. So Nithya, thank you so much for being willing to talk with me today about what you're doing. So let's first talk about Toss the Coin. What is Toss the Coin?
So Toss the Coin is a B2B marketing consultants, right? And so we are a bunch of creative professionals. So we try to make everything as creative as possible, right from content to employee engagement, to your website, to everything, right? And so we call ourselves as creative problem solvers. And being the creative director, I'm responsible for anything that is creative within Toss the Coin. And I'm responsible for branding, brand positioning, and everything that from the entire journey, right? From creating the brand to brand activation to everything.
Now, where are you based, Nithya? Where's home for you?
I'm based in Chennai, in India.
And is Toss the Coin, where is Toss the Coin based?
Toss the Coin is based in India. We do have a couple of employees working across Bangalore, also in UK, but we are predominantly based in Chennai, in India.
All right, good. So when we think about your career growth and development that led you to this position, there was a lot of gamification design strategy that was going on. So let's talk about, you used to work for a company called Cognizant?
Yes.
Correct? What does Cognizant do?
So Cognizant is a technology company, right? So they're one of the top technology companies in the world, right? And I was there for a decade. And so in those 10 years, I was so fortunate to have taken multiple roles. And one of the most exciting roles that I've ever been in was heading this gamification center of excellence for their CIO's office, right? And I was also a program manager for a program where we developed a fully gamified platform for college students to log in and play and learn in the process, right? So that was like a internship program for college final year students, right? So we wanted to gamify the entire experience of them learning, taking the assessment tests and getting mentored, developing the application on the platform, and then finally deciding who the winner is.
Wow. So was this for students who are specifically like majoring in some kind of tech field that these
That's right, because this was for Cognizant, where we go for recruitment, right? So we go to colleges for recruitment. So we form teams of students who are in the final year and who do their internship typically with companies like Cognizant and other companies, right? So these are students who want to do internship with Cognizant. So we wanted to make it very exciting for them, because otherwise internship is just, we give them a problem statement and then they just develop an application or a platform or whatever. So we wanted them to have a very engaging experience, and which is why we thought we will build a completely gamified platform, which will help them and also help us. Because as a program manager, in the very first year, we didn't have any gamified platform. And it was so difficult for us to monitor what the students were doing, their progress, and their engagement levels were also very low. and they didn't feel like doing anything. They didn't want to take the tutorials. They didn't want to do the assessments. It was a very big headache for me. So that's when gamification was becoming popular. I'm talking about 2011, like a decade ago.
Yes.
Right? So that's when gamification was becoming popular. And then my boss came and told, Nithya, why don't we just try gamifying this platform? I was clueless, right? Nobody had any idea about gamification or how to gamify. So we just thought, okay, let me just try it out. Yeah. And what we did was we just gamified a very small module, and that worked like wonder. So we just gamified the assessment part of the platform, and the students' adoption levels increased drastically. And that's when we thought, okay, we have done the right thing. So the next year, we built a completely full-fledged gamified platform, like a game-based learning platform, where the students log in, they create their avatars, and then start competing with the other teams as they learn the assessment and everything. So we built on top of the same platform. Every year we started adding more features to make it more exciting, because that's how you evolve, right? So you learn from your past mistakes or learnings, and then you keep adding on top of it, remove certain features, add certain elements. And by the end of 6 years, so I was doing this for almost 6 years. And in the 6th year, I think we had a lovely, fully gamified platform with a chat bot and all that. So that was the journey. That's what I've done.
Well, that was one of my questions was, did you go into Cognizant knowing you were going to be designing this, or was that something that, hey, Nithya, here's an idea for you. Let's gamify this. Yeah. That's lovely. That's really great. And I love that you, right? Like you start with one idea. Is this going to work? Like before, let's develop a fully gamified internship program. Let's try this first. What's working, what's not.
Yes.
The iteration also is so huge, because like I was doing one of our certification programs right before our conversation. There's some things that aren't working, and I've been seeing a little bit of pattern of that. So we had a conversation this morning about things work till they don't work anymore. So what might we need to be doing differently now? The whole world has turned upside down in the past 3 years. So how people are engaging with their workplace and their learning is different. So what can we do to help facilitate, because they work on guild challenges, what can we do to make that more effective and impactful for them? And so I got 6 different ideas from just a short conversation, which I know that those are ideas that all are worthy of exploration. Because one of the things that I think is really dangerous is when we design, I call it inside a bubble, where I've got my ideas, but I haven't tried it out on the actual real life students yet to see if they like it. And that's what you did, right? Does this work? This works, this didn't work. Yeah, let's iterate, let's add to it. Lovely, really, really nice. When you think about what you learned with behavioral psychology and motivation and engagement, even though you're not in a gamification role at Toss the Coin, it's still all being used, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So now what we do is we gamify offline, right? So we don't have an online platform that we gamify, but we do gamify content, right? So there are a lot of employee engagement activities that we involve in. And when you talk about employee engagement, gamification definitely plays a major role. So we do use some of these platforms like Kahoot and all that at times, but otherwise there are so many other possibilities for trying gamification. Sometimes people kind of misinterpret gamification as just playing a game, which is not right, because it's a lot more than just a game. You could gamify very subtly without incorporating a lot of these game elements and still make it look gamified and very engaging. See, more than even gamifying, right? It's the user engagement that is more important, and trying to make something that is very mundane and boring and repetitive to making it very interesting and exciting for the user. That behavioral change is what gamification is meant to be doing. Right.
Yeah.
And that way, I think Toss the Coin has been doing a lot.
Very good, really good. And that really is the key. Again, when we think about gamification inside organizations, like, there's something that I need for the organization to be successful. And so I want the employees to have a knowledge transfer and skill development, but it has to be valuable to the employees too. We can tell them all day long how valuable it is, but until they see how it's going to directly help them to be successful in their job, and there's that overlap, there's not the engagement. We think engagement is about, like here in the United States, we've got foosball tables, 3-story slides, go-karts, a chef that makes beer at 3:00, but those are perks. It's not, engagement comes from helping people to be successful. And that's really good. Really good. So how long have you been with Toss the Coin?
About 2.5 years now.
Yeah, that's great. And you are the creative director there. That's your role. Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. So imagine that someone's coming to you and they say, wow, you've had a lot of experience in this and you've had some great success. So what should I know about gamification? What's the most important thing I should know about gamification? What would you say to them?
I would say you should know what not to gamify and how not to gamify, right? So the most important thing is, sometimes people tend to get super excited about gamification, about the mechanics and all that, the dynamics, and they tend to just put everything into a platform. And they just scribble, oh, it didn't work. Obviously, it will not work, right? You will need to know how much to gamify, right? I think that is very, very important. So what some people fail to do before they develop, forget a gamified platform or anything, right, is not understanding the user and their needs.
Right.
So as a design thinking practitioner, I think the first thing is to just step back and just look at the problem itself and see, is that the problem that I'm going to solve? First, understand if that problem even exists. For all you know, the problem could be something else, which you did not discover. So the first step is to empathize with the user and realize what they exactly want, right? And then decide what are the mechanics or dynamics that will fit into that particular user or the player type for the user persona that you actually create, right? So when you fail to do that, any application is bound to fail, right?
Yeah.
And when you over gamify, again, that's a problem.
Say the last thing again.
When you over gamify, when you
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's put this in and we could do this and let's yeah.
Let's do points, badges, everything. No, that might not work, right? So for me, in my case, where we were working with college students, they were all millennials, and we knew we could explore anything with them. They had all the time, energy, everything. But when I was developing gamified applications for the enterprise, for my organization, where we had employees across various levels, from freshers to the CXOs of the organization, you have to be very mindful of the tone, of the narrative, of how much to gamify, depending on the application, depending on the problem you're trying to solve, or depending on the time that a user is going to use the particular application. You will have to decide what mechanics and dynamics and aesthetics to include in your platform. Sometimes it has to be very subtle, right? No pop-up saying, wow, congratulations, you did that. No, right? Sometimes you need it and sometimes you don't need it. So I think that balance, if somebody can get, that would work wonders for anyone.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, there's so many different applications and apps that, like I was talking about a company yesterday, like the Robinhood app that's been investigated by our Massachusetts Security Commission because of the confetti on the screen. And you think it's just confetti on the screen, but it does have a huge addictiveness to it. And then you think about, well, do I use that in corporate, and do somebody like the CXO feel like we're taking important work and minimizing it? And so, there's not I was asked the question this this week, what are the 10 mechanics that I should use in this application? And I said, I wish I could answer that. Like, I wish I could say, use these 10, and this is what's going to, because it depends. You know, all those different components of the persona. There is no nice, neat little cookie cutter. You use these 10 things and it's going to work. If it was,
no one
would be,
size fits all kind of a template for anything, right?
And that's because we're dealing with humans, right? So as soon as we think and we're relying on them responding in a certain way, and we haven't tested it with them, we're probably going to fail because we're assuming, we're making assumptions, and we aren't doing it based on actual testing it out. I really love your answer. That is so good. It's really good, Nithya. Thank you so much. I hope that you'll be able to pop into GamiCon. We start 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be, well, I don't know, early morning for you, right? Early, yeah. So, but we're going 48 hours straight. And we have speakers from across the globe coming in. So I hope that you'll be able to stop in. I know that people will enjoy talking with you and asking you questions about what you've done, especially for those participants who are really working in the higher ed area, higher education. I know they'd have a ton of questions for you. So thank you. It's been a delight to meet you. I'm so glad that we got this opportunity. And I look forward to a continued connection as we move forward.
Certainly. I'd be more than happy. Thank you so much, Monique.
Thank you, Nithya. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.